and a happy little tune.
Yeah! Wonderful.
Hello, welcome to episode 43 of CRT Sound System. I'm Tom, and I'm here as always with Reese. Reese, how are you?
I'm great. I'm recording live here from the Burger Cube, so I'm real excited to visit an
The-
important location from Super Monkey Ball, from which
okay, I
this
was I
game
was
is
going to
from.
ask you, is that a real thing or some sort of reference to Super Monkey Ball?
It,
Uh,
that is a reference to Super Monkey Ball. In the
okay,
level where there's all those diners instead they're just floating in space. One of them is called Burger Cube, which is the
I
sequel
see.
to Cube. I think we've all been begging for.
Sequel to Burger 64, I presume.
Exactly.
And we've got a guest with us for this episode. Treyt, how are you?
I am doing well. How are you doing this fine evening or whatever time it is when you're listening to this stream?
It'll be around this time, yeah, because usually I release them at 10 o'clock on a Sunday. So
Nice.
that's usually 10 o'clock my time, because to sort of peek behind the curtain for a bit. Usually,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm in Ireland, as is obvious, but my guests are over in the States.
Yeah, kind of hard to get a plane ticket over to Ireland quick a sec, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So yeah, we're going to talk about the Super Monkey Ball 1 and 2 soundtracks. So as always, I usually get our guests to sort of discuss the game itself. So Trey, if you want to just give people a little bit of an overview over this game, just a quick basic.
Quick basic. All right.
Yeah.
So back when this game like started conceptually, it was just like a tech demo, got turned
Mm,
into an arcade, and eh, you roll a ball around, as a monkey, and you got to get to the goal. The trick is it's like one of those tilt puzzles, where you tilt it and roll the ball around in the maze.
yeah.
And Yeah, super fun. Really laid back until you get to the harder levels, in which case you want to claw your eyes out.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
That's that's usually what happens to me. I only have so much patience for these kind of
Yeah,
games.
for real.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and even when you get past that initial barrier of like realizing that you're controlling the stage and not the ball, which I think is probably the biggest first step for most people, is to sort of understand how they're controlling it.
Yeah.
It still gets really, really tough in some of the later stages, and especially when you're trying to get like perfect times
Yeah, for real.
and all that stuff. Reese, what's your sort of experience with this series?
I have appreciated the first one as a labyrinth-like, but I don't really never really got too far with it. It was never a game I owned. It was just something that I borrowed, that sort of stuff. Played the emulator. So well, like the
Mm.
minute I got received any sort of friction, I was like, all right, that's a wrap. Let's move on to
Oh,
a Resident Evil playthrough again or something. But
okay.
but
Yeah.
it seems but I've always appreciated it, and I've always been sort of like, I gotta get back into those. I need my to get the monkey ball, whatever the plot
Until
of the
you
game
run
is.
into the first block, right? And then you're out again.
Well, there's some of them I think it's pretty fair. Like I was watching a couple Let's Plays, and there's that big comb level that
Oh, yeah. Dude,
fucking confounded everybody. So
like actually my favorite level, because me and my brother sat on that level for probably days, right? When we were kids, like 14 or so,
Mm.
maybe more like 12. And we figured out that if you just rolled straight forward at the beginning of the game and kind of arced it around to the side, like halfway in between the comb and the end of the stage, you could literally just go straight and then curve back in towards the goal, and you wouldn't get hit. Like we we got to the point where we were just holding forward and trying different angles. You know what I mean? And that
I
desperation ended up with the cleanest run I have ever seen.
that's what happened on the like the long play or whatever, is that he or whoever was playing it got almost every single level first time, and then
Oh,
retried that one like 15 times. You could see that guy tilting and like starting to just like retry the second. And then the one that he got it was that strategy. He just
Yep.
drove right through and wasn't touched. So that's hilarious.
That's very nice. Yeah. Yeah. I think the biggest thing that I associate with this game is just the sort of this is one of these early Sega games appearing on other consoles. Just like
Yeah.
shortly after the Dreamcast died, and when I think that the first game was a GameCube exclusive.
Yeah. Yep.
And just like the idea of walking into a shop and buying a Sega game for your fucking GameCube was just the wildest thing to think about at the time.
Unconscionable.
Yeah, like especially like I grew up in the Sega Nintendo wars. I lived through the 90s console
best
wars.
So
You
you'd
caught
say
in the
more around,
crossfire.
yeah, more around the lines of sacrilegious versus like awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
And it was just the weirdest thing to at the time. Like, but it was a game that my friend had on his GameCube, and I mostly played it in his house. I never actually owned a copy of it myself. But I used to always remember it was just something in college, and I would just sit and watch him play while I was stoned. And I would just chill and listen to the music because the music was just full of bops.
Oh yeah, dude.
Which
Like
is
the whole
primarily
thing.
why we're here. Yeah,
True.
yeah. But yeah, it's the music is really really something in this. It's the primary composer is Hidenori Shoji. And like I was saying in the green room before we started, like it's difficult to find out who exactly composed what tracks. I have some individual track listings for Super Monkey Ball 2, but for everything in Super Monkey Ball, it's all credited to Hidenori Shoji, Haruyoshi Tomita, and Sakae Osumi. But as I said, Hidenori Shoji seems to sort of be the lead on this and is one of the bigger names in Sega music.
So I actually have a headcanon around
Okay.
this. Okay. So Hidenori, obviously, kind of the big. I would say he probably does most of it.
Mhm.
In general, my headcanon is he is on the mastering. He is on the like the elaboration. You know, the smaller synths that play around that really fill out the rest of the track and add like points of variation.
Okay.
And probably the bass lines. That's my guess. And then the
Okay.
other two just can't. They like walk into the studio, right? They toss down a wave of a loop that they found and are like, "Oh yeah, check this out, dude! It's so cool. You could make a whole track out of this." So okay. So Ryuji. So I'm confident that Ryuji is the one that did most of the drums, because if you listen to everything, right, there, especially in Super Monkey Ball 1, there's a lot of the breakbeat loops and a
Yeah.
lot of the like tracker glitching that happens, and that is absolutely rampant in the two that he has credited to him, Bubbly Washing Machine and Amusement Park.
Okay.
So, and then you have Volcano World 2 from Super Monkey Ball 2 that's accredited to only Hidenori.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I'm pulling my headcanon from.
Okay.
Right? Is that Ryuji's got the drum samples and maybe some of the synths, and Hidenori kind of covers everything, and then Sakae just walks in. He's like the guy that is in a recording studio and he's like managed to skim a couple recordings off the top, and he just like put together a thing. And he's not like, obviously, I'm so sorry if you're listening to this, Sakae. This is obviously not true, but my headcanon is you walk in and you drop that and you're like, dude, check this out, it's so cool, and the other two just kind of face palm.
But Sakae does have the smallest sort of discography that I can see.
Yeah.
So
We don't
like,
have a huge list, but
yeah. And as I say, it's so hard to find out exactly who did what in these things for a number of different reasons. But I do enjoy your speculation. So we're just going to take this as fact from now on.
Hallelujah.
Because nobody else is asserting any of these as facts anyway. So
That's fair. That's
Yeah.
fair.
at least you've brought a sense of what's the word, a reasoning to it that maybe
Exactly. I've got logic and evidence to back up my my argument. I'm probably the most qualified here to. I'm kidding.
That's going in the Wikipedia article. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that this is probably the most definitive statement one could find on it online, because I tried searching so many interviews. I was scrolling through everything, and they do not want to talk about any of these composers. Never want to talk about Super Monkey Ball. It's obviously mostly Shoji being like, yeah, Yakuza. Who wants to talk about the karaoke from Yakuza?
Right.
And he's such a rock focused composer that I think he's just like, yeah, that was just me getting started. That was a little silly one.
Yeah, honestly, like especially the first game just kind of feels like a mishmash of shitposts. It's like obviously it's what 10, 13 something way more years ago.
Mhm.
Way more actually. Holy crap.
Yeah.
So these guys were
Attack on the
obviously
Set.
new-ish in quotations. They had some experience, but this was more or less an experiment. The game was. They wanted to get some fun tracks out quick as sec. They maybe didn't put a whole lot of effort into the first game's music, but then they, had time between 1 and 2. They leveled up. They were like, okay, Super Monkey Ball did well. We're actually gonna dive in and we're gonna, crank out some tracks. I feel like that's what they did.
Yeah, that sounds. Again, I have nothing to corroborate that, but that sounds good to me.
I'm just full of speculation, man.
No, it's accurate speculation. This is
Yeah.
All right, so we'll jump into the first block of tracks with that. So again, all these tracks composed in part or in whole by Hidenori Shoji, Haruyoshi Tomita, and Sakae Osumi. So the first track is Jungle, second track is Underwater, third track is Sky High, and then the final track of the block is Storm. literally rocking out to that one while you guys were chatting.
Bro, that one slaps.
Yeah.
Like for real.
Yeah, we were sort of discussing the similarities between that and your sort of Sonic Adventure 2 kind of tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you can really hear the as Reese is saying, the Hidenori Shoji as mainly a rock guy. That's definitely coming through on that track, even though there are synths throughout the whole track that you can definitely sort of feel like a monkey ball kind of synth
Yep.
riff, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, you can hear the drum kits change drastically between like tracks, and this drum kit really hits like an actual physical rock kit.
Yeah, or the others do feel a lot more like sampled breakbeats. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. But it's a cool sound, and it's very unique to this game, even though you can definitely hear elements that sort of cross over into and from other Sega games. Like there's definitely a sense of that sort of Sega house style at the time. Like you can hear some synths that sound like they're from Phantasy Star and things like that, where and even some of their fighting games. So you can, it's definitely, you know, as I say, there's a house style in Sega at the time that you can definitely draw a straight line to.
You know, it feels like everybody on Super Monkey Ball was just vibing. And my
Yeah.
headcanon is that since this was like one of the very earliest Sega for Nintendo titles, they were kind of just like, yeah, we'll just get this one out for Nintendo. Still make it a good game, but like the soundtrack is great, but I have to say, like, it wouldn't be the thing I would think of for your little chibi monkey in a hamster ball running around. It's not nearly as cute as it gets maybe gets later on, or it would be for other games. And I think that's part of the charm is I think they're just having a good time with it.
Wholeheartedly agree.
And the director of the game very hilariously said he does not understand why Super Monkey Ball is popular. So I feel like that maybe I take that to be my evidence that just that there wasn't it wasn't necessarily nearly as thought about as maybe some
they
other
didn't put a
games.
whole lot of work into it. Yeah.
And it's they and the focus was instead sort of maybe a bit more on the mechanics, because the mechanics do seem quite tight and engaging. But they were just like, I'm not saying anybody did a bad job. Of course, it's excellent, but there was a accusation made that it was less developed.
I don't know who would say that. I know nobody here would say that, right? Not me, especially.
And I kind of got to agree. Especially, it's very funny. Like with the mini games, they're just like, oh yeah, you can play pool with them, and you can you can play soccer with them.
It does feel like the last brainstorming session before lunch. Like,
yeah, like a couple college kids just throwing something together. They're like, yeah, that's fine, that'll work.
Yeah. You don't really get the sense in this game that it's like anybody's passion project, but like, it still managed to get like what 20 fucking games at this stage. Like,
what?
There's so many Monkey Ball games. And I remember as well with like, this is just a sort of a weird tangent. Just the when the App Store was launching on the iPhone, like when the iPhone first came out, one of the big games they had was a Monkey Ball port, and they were just like, they were pushing that so hard at the time.
Wow.
Yeah, because I remember my friend Dave, different Dave to the Dave who's guested on this show, but he was working in phone shops at the time. And like he was just doing a lot of selling of phones and such. And he was like, one of the things that he'd often end up showing people was Super Monkey Ball on a phone. Because at the time, the idea of having a game that looked even half as good as a GameCube game on your fucking phone was just it looked like the goddamn future. It was
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
and it was a very pared down version of the game, obviously, but it really sort of sold the iOS to some people, I think, as a possible place to put video games on. And here
And
we
look
are
at it
now.
now. Yeah. The future, baby.
Yeah,
You could play Candy Crush and Genshin Impact on your phone.
so much Fortnite.
Oh gosh, yeah. No, like recently hooked up my controller to my phone because I was like just hanging out and I was like, wait, I could play Fortnite. And I tried it out and it works just fine. It's like a completely comparable experience to a console now. It's wild.
Yeah, I have one of those little attachments for my phone, just to play the occasional game that I do want to play on my phone, and it is it's kind of wild that you can do that.
Like a clip that attaches to your controller.
Yeah, just a clip for my PS4 controller. Yeah,
I need to get another one of those. I had one of those and then I think I switched phones, so it doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, I think that you can get them for like $2 on Amazon.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm just lazy.
Yeah, so the next block of tracks we do have are all from the sort of the mini game. So I think that's sort of a different fun element to the game. So like the main game itself is just sort of you go through stage by stage. But then you also can do little mini games like bowling. There's a golf game and monkey fight, which I presume is just some sort of. I haven't again not super familiar with the first game, other than watching somebody play the main stages.
Bro,
Is Monkey Fight like a 2-player game, or is it just
Monkey
like
Fight is up to 4 players,
Okay.
and let me tell you, infuriating. You and 3 other people, tops, are put onto one small platform, and you get random power-ups that you can pick up, like iron gloves, and you just have a punching glove like by default. You can hold the A button to charge it up. You start moving slower when you do, and you can release it at any time to fire in a direction that you're holding with the controller stick, and it will punch in that direction. The goal is to throw your enemies off. And bro, the wobbly, sorry, not wobbly, the like, what's the weighted controls? There we go. The weighted like response to the controls is so incredibly frustrating in those scenarios because you're like, I didn't go that far, or I didn't aim that direction, or and I had plenty of rage moments with my my brother and friends on that one.
Yeah, I can imagine that being the kind of experience that could sour friendship quite easily.
Not nearly as bad as Smash Bros, though. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've definitely had a few like that as well. All right. So yeah, we'll jump into the next block of tracks in any case. From more from Monkey Ball 1. So the first track I have is Extra Stage. The second track I have is Monkey Bowling. Then I have the aforementioned Monkey Fight, and then lastly is Monkey Golf.
Yeah. Okay, so my music production, like, kind of life has been veering towards like synthwave and cyberpunk type of stuff
Mhm.
lately. And every time I hear like those acid arps from this, or like those rhythms, specifically with those acid synths,
Yeah.
I it's like going back to your first love, you know, because that's really, I feel like that's where it started with like vocoding,
Mm.
and getting those synths that had that wow that really had like movement to them. You know, they weren't just static; they were alive. You know, they talked,
Yeah.
and they had, and making putting those rhythms together. It really feels like the origin point for what I love the most in music. And yeah, I keep forgetting that this is the era that where that like started really coming into full swing.
Mm. In general, or just in sort of like video game music, or
I would say in general,
mm,
Daft Punk was like what, almost the like late '80s, I think it was.
maybe, yeah, sort of mid to late 90s was when
Yeah,
Homework
and
came out. And then Discovery was 2001, I'm going to say off the top of my head.
hmm
Mhm.
and yeah, those like 2000s, maybe a little bit earlier, was where like people like synths just were available to people more. That, you know,
Yeah.
it wasn't like Kraftwerk where they were working with, you know, the, like analog stuff, and everything
Mm.
was like super rare. It was getting more and more available, and people started really experimenting with all those sounds, and
Yeah.
we started evolving musically.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. One thing I did want to actually say on the first track, Extra Stage. So that's one I can probably I would say 99% confidence say is a Hidenori Shoji track entirely. And the only reason I say that is because it sounds like it's right off the F-Zero AX soundtrack, which he
Yeah.
did most of the music for, at least most of the new music for, the ones that weren't based on existing themes.
We're sussing
So
them out. We're
yeah.
sussing them out.
So based on that alone, I'm pretty confident in saying that that's Hidenori Shoji. Um, I
That-
really wanted to talk about Monkey Bowling as well because like it's just a pure disco track, and just like with all the disco elements, and then just that electric piano sneaking in.
Dude, that playing in your right ear just a little bit, so funky. It just spoke to my
Yeah,
soul. I
yeah,
could
it's
I
really
could
really
listen
good.
to that loop for like maybe an hour just straight. Not
Yeah.
even joking.
And I suppose that's what they're designed for, because like, these tracks are only like 2.5 minutes for the most part. So they're all going to be looping the entire time that you're sort of sitting in monkey bowling, trying to fucking hit a spare or whatever you're doing in monkey bowling. Or the monkey fight track is just like sitting and sort of losing all your friendships with this incredible music playing in the background.
and like it's so the monkey fight music was so playful. I feel like it's almost like that kid that's just poking you and is like saying just antagonizing you until you punch him, right? It's not like it's unassuming, but it's paired with the actual mini game, so infuriating.
For all that we've claimed about it being kind of a flip production, they do encapsulate this kind of like perfect vibe. It feels like Shoji was just like, saw, okay, we got a bowling track. The disco bowling's a thing, right? Anyways, it just does the Mentat eye rolling thing, and just like 8 minutes later, the song is just there, and it goes out
Fully
drinking
produced.
with everybody.
Yeah.
And it's really incredible. I feel like this is the break where it needs to be said that the Super Monkey Ball soundtrack is the prequel to the Yakuza series. I haven't made a lot of connections,
Interesting,
from the context yet, but it is the same team essentially that went on to it, and so I don't know. There's just something, I can just imagine Kiryu controlling the monkey ball and just being like, I am learning a lot of lessons from this.
There's a playfulness to it that sort of that does sort of live on in Yakuza. Because like obviously Shenmue is the game that sort of people say, oh, that's what became Yakuza in the end. But I think you've got something there, Reese. There's definitely a sense of, as I say, the playfulness and just the willingness to just try something stupid for something that's you're only going to be playing for a few minutes.
Yeah,
that's what we're here
before
for, man.
Before you move on to something else, like that's
well, I mean, in doing my research, like I everything about all of the kind of like key personnel involved. Either there was nothing, or it was just like, we're here to talk about Yakuza 3. And it just, I can't help but make the connection at this point. And I think it's very funny too that there's such a transformation from the game director from Super Monkey Ball to this. He just kind of looks like a normal guy when he was directing this, and now if you look at him, he's like all tanned and kind of looks like a gangster himself. He's definitely has a persona put on. It's really funny, and so I feel this is very much sort of like the playground where all of these epic cast of characters met, and they're just like, this is all right, this is paying the bills, but what if we did something real? What if we did the real shit? And so that's my claim, is that in the big compendium of Yakuza games when it comes out, Super Monkey Ball 1 and 2 should also be there. And and there is a real sense as well, as that it took them a long time to understand Monkey Ball without the director, because after 1 and 2 the games became much less popular because they would do stuff like the majority of the stages had rails on them, and like that's not, I'm not here to fuss about the game. I don't care about bad monkey balls, but but it's sort of like, that's not the game. That's it. You're turning it into like a very, a game for kids, which, despite the chibi nature of it, this game really isn't. Not unless you get past the first couple, or at the very least it's a trial by fire for.
Bro, you want to talk about like this game being not for kids? So I actually have a news article here that I need to pull up. It's from Polygon, so whatever. But like, it literally starts off: doctors play Super Monkey Ball 2 to warm up before surgery. So hear me out. Surgeons at Florida Hospital Celebration Health played video games like Super Monkey Ball 2 before performing surgery to warm up and improve their efficiency. Orlando Sentinel reports.
Jesus.
That would
And you know
honestly make
what?
me feel better if
It makes perfect sense because this
Yeah.
game at later levels, like you were saying, not for kids, requires surgical precision. You ever
Yeah.
so you know those levels where like you start off on the top and you can like bump your way down to make it easier, like
Mhm.
and there are just those super thin rails that you have to go that you have to make your way around at the harder levels, but there's like a ton
Yeah.
of bananas up there. Those impossible. I do not have the hand-eye coordination for that disgusting amount of precision. I completely understand why doctors, hospitals would use these kind of games. And another fun fact off that report, the people that did well, the surgeons that did well in the games, apparently messed up 33% less and were much more accurate than the other doctors. So, just for everybody, if you're looking to become a surgeon, go try out Super Monkey Ball 2.
Yeah.
Just start there. Just start there.
I do not want anybody operating on me that can't beat the master levels.
That's a fact. I beat my chest in solidarity with you.
Oh God, yeah. I'd say it does make sense because from what I played, these games are absolutely just they're so punishing on the higher difficulties. Like
Mhm.
I've been sort of watching some let's plays, or not let's plays, but like long plays of them, just sort of on in the background while we're listening to the music, and it's just like, yeah, you not just I think the sort of the pixel perfect movement, but also just like you need to have the nerves of steel to actually just um, make the leap or make a move that is sort of
Yeah.
looks as dangerous as hell. So you need, if you're going to be a hotshot surgeon, you definitely need to be able to beat these master levels.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nah, my favorite thing about like some of the levels is there are absolute cheeses that you can do if you're brave enough. Like jumping the sides on those like steep slides that are like half pipes. You can jump
Yeah.
the side and just land right next to the goal or right in the goal. It's like there's so many fun ways to play those levels, but you got to have the balls for it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
This was we will move on to Monkey Ball 2 in this case. So two is like pretty much more of the same, but just like everything is turned up a little bit, I think. It's one of those sequels that like they're not reinventing the wheel really.
Right.
They're just like, okay, we're taking what people liked about the first game, we're sort of refining things. We're the controls are a little bit tighter. The actual gameplay itself it does seem a lot better, and there's some more there's a lot more of the mini games for people to play as well.
It feels like more of a filled out, oh, people like this. This might be more a bigger thing type of game.
Yeah.
There's a story which I loved. I was watching the Let's Play. Doctor Bad Boon being
Yeah.
an absolute neurotic mess. And just being like, if I take all your food and you have to come to my home and eat, then you'll like me. That is such a funny bad guy characterization.
Uh,
Um,
he's just such a perv too. He's like all over Mimi. And
yeah.
fact, Mimi, Ai, and Baby are a family, right? So I
Mhm.
don't think we have any confirmation on whether Ai and Mimi are married or siblings. But that like imagine that for a second. Like, what if she's already married? Right? This dude's
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna take your wife away from you.
That is funny. I didn't realize there was actually a story in this one.
Oh shoot! Well, welcome to the party.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll talk a little bit more about the story in the
Okay.
next break.
Well, yeah. I suppose we'll jump into the first set of tracks though for Monkey Ball 2. So this game is mostly composed again by Hidenori Shoji. and also with Haruyoshi Tomita and, as you mentioned earlier, Treyt, Ryuji Iuchi. So in the first block, we have World 2 Volcano, which is by Hidenori Shoji. Then we have World 7, Bubbly Washing Machine, and World 5, Amusement Park, both by Ryuji Iuchi. And then last track is World 10, Dr. Bad Boon's Base, which is by Hidenori Shoji. Reese, I'm going to need you to fucking explain the plot of this game to me because
Okay, so
I
Dr.
was
Bad Boon is everybody hates him, and he is in love with Mei Mei, and he it starts out with him stealing all the bananas on the island, so they have to go over to the island. And he wants to blow up the island because if they blow up the island, they'll have to come and visit him. And then it gets a little fuzzy. They shrink. They get shrunk, and they have to get out. There's an underwater part and a whale part. That's kind of filler. And then they get shrunk, and then to get unshrunk, they have to hide in his laundry until he puts his clothes back on and tickle Dr. Badboot until he gets unshrunk. And then it's sort of like, the final conclusion of chasing him to his space base so they can get all the bananas back.
Which is really what he wanted anyway, right?
Exactly. So everybody gets what they want.
Nice.
But what's really funny about it is how, as I mentioned before, absolutely neurotic Dr. Badboon is. Just like he absolutely somebody that just wants to be loved, just wants attention, and is the biggest, most unappealing dipshit about it. So I had a lot of empathy for this man monkey. Just like
there,
be
but for the
real.
grace of God, go.
Exactly.
You want to talk about neurotic, like that track? So that last track, Dr. Badboon's bass. You know how like sleeper agents have like their wake up word? That's like the wake up word for my inner rage, because the amount of frustration I had with that particular set of levels in the story, especially as a kid, was incredible. It like abused the amount of like start, stop, rewind, fast forward buttons, and some of the levels were just frustrating. I literally just get angry when I hear that track. It's just it happens. It just turns on.
Yeah, so sometimes even a good track can give you a Pavlovian response like that, where you're just like, yeah, it's like, plus the thing of like where if you never make a track that you like your alarm to wake up in the morning, because then you'll just come to hate that track because you associate it with being fucking woken from sleep. Yeah.
If I recall, it's a little bit less demanding because you don't have lives in Super Monkey Ball 2, so you can retry
Not in the main
them.
story.
Oh, okay.
But
so it's
if
less annoying.
Yeah. But the second you start like doing the challenge courses and you start from it's no longer story. It just progresses and you get into like the advanced stages that aren't in the actual story. You have lives. You can restart for free, assuming you want to dump all of your points, because you go straight back to 0 points, but you get your lives back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, so sure, you have infinite lives, but you also dump your score. So like that's kind of the point of the challenge mode.
I see. Sorry, I had a big yawn there.
My bad. I'm just not interesting enough for you. No, I'm kidding.
It's getting late. Getting late for me, so I'm just like,
oh yeah, what time is it over there?
It's 11:15.
Oh baby, bedtime.
It's fine. Just my sleep has been a bit fucked up lately. So,
dude, I know how that goes so hard. I'm a third shifter, and this week has just been full of meetings at random times. So like I'm flip flopping my sleep schedules hard and missing sleep and stressing about things. So I'm not sleeping. Then I'm not sleeping again because I have to do it. It's yeah. I understand. I'm there, right there with you, brother.
Absolutely, yeah. But yeah, looking at the game here, it does seem a lot more frustrating that what's it called, the Dr. Badboon's base. Yeah, that seems like something I would not enjoy doing. Even with infinite tries, I would just be like, nah. Even if I had gotten to this level, I think I would have just been fine with never ever finishing the end of this game.
Yeah, I'm
yeah,
very much a beat my head against the wall kind of gamer. So like tough games like Dark Souls and
Mm.
these kind of games where you got to try one thing over and over and over and over and over until you do it. I kind of enjoy those, but that's just me.
I mean, I
you want to
enjoy
be
Dark
rolling or
Souls, but
you
I
want to be
think
rolling around. You want to speed up. You don't want to just be sitting there. And I don't even mind when it gets finicky, but there are some of them where it's just absolute chaos. Stuff is spinning around. And you just kind of have to just like always be skirting it and trying to figure out how to just not engage with what they're doing.
yeah.
And it's definitely gets to a point where you're just like, okay, let's wrap it up.
Done with
Yeah.
this. Move on, please.
I'd rather play 50 Dark Souls than this, to be honest.
I respect the opinion, sir.
It's it's tough. But yeah, the two then seems to have expanded a lot of the mini game stuff as well. So it has racing, the fighting. It has like a pilot wings sort of stage, does it? Is that what?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
what it looks like to me. So that
Couple
looks
of
pretty
those.
fun.
Yeah, dog fighting.
Yeah. And then like the return of golf, and then there's like boat racing,
Monkey
and
shot.
monkey shot. Yeah, what is monkey shot? Oh, that's like a
The
sort of like an
rails
on rail.
shooter.
Looks
Yep.
pretty
Yeah.
neat. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, really sort of playing around with the format in the second game. 'Cause yeah, I think once you get to the third game, I don't know if it becomes a little bit more sort of mini game focused for things like the Wii games and the DS games, because like from what I've seen of those, they're a lot more focused on the mini games and a lot more focused on the sort of the gimmicky movement, because you don't have the same controls as you did for 1 and 2. So you have either touch controls or motion controls, and in those days, if a game controlled either entirely with touch or motion controls, I usually just checked out straight away.
Yeah, same.
So, so I don't know if they're actually even good games. I know that the Banana Blitz, the Wii one, the first Wii one, did get a HD re-release, but I haven't tried that out yet, unfortunately.
Well, I think we all have a couple games to play after this session, huh?
My understanding is that like the 1 and 2 are the best, and then the super new ones that have come out recently are kind of more of a return to form of what you.
Okay.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Oh shoot. All right, so I do have some games to play.
Looking them up real quick. There's like that one just got announced. A new one for the.
What
the
year is it?
Switch.
It's coming out this year sometime. Yeah.
Yeah, coming out in June.
What's it called?
Super Monkey Ball Banana Rumble, I think. I don't remember.
Banana Rumble.
But I hear the Banana Mania is good as well. Maybe that's not the case. I forget now.
Banana Mania is I think it's the first 2 or 3 games, I think, just sort of mashed together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There's too many of these. I'm getting faint.
Too many monkeys, too many balls.
Uh-oh. Ah, dang. Okay, yeah, no, I'm watching the Banana Rumble trailer, and all I'm seeing is something I am excited for. Shoot.
That's
That
good.
looks fun. All right. Well,
Alright,
here's
so-
hoping it delivers.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so the next block of tracks then I have are all from the mini games. So these 2 of these featured here are going to be requests, one from you, Treyt, and one from Reese.
Yeah.
So we have first track is Monkey Race 2, advanced track. Then we have
So good.
Monkey Soccer. Yeah,
So
I
good.
listened to that earlier. It was really, really good. Monkey Soccer, Monkey Bowling 2, and Monkey Billiards 2.
There's some artistry right there.
Nice.
Yeah, I could absolutely listen to that last one for just like hours.
Yeah. Yeah. Production
It's-
quality is through the roof. Love
Yeah,
that thing.
Immense.
yeah. It was when it came on there. I think both myself and Reese were a little bit sort of shook by it for a second. Um, but yeah, it's real fun.
Mhm.
Dude, you want to talk about fun? Freaking thank you so much for putting that advanced race course on there. I completely forgot about that track. And that is what I identify as. I identify as that track. Like,
It it's really incredible. It's kind of my favorite genre of video game song that's trying to, in a very kind of free, joyful way, like give the example of speed or flying. Like my favorite soundtrack is the UN Squadron soundtrack, because there's a lot of tracks like that in there, and there's just something about that solo there, right in
Yeah.
the
yeah,
middle, where it's just like I become a different person. I go to a different world.
facts.
Um,
Dude, that 80s vibe just hits me right in the feels.
Yeah, but it's pretty intense.
Yeah, yeah. And then to just finish off that section, with some relaxing billiards, music, completely composed from the ground up. You couldn't hear a loop in there outside of like the drum track, right?
Yeah, I think pretty much only the drums were sort of on a loop there. Yeah,
Yeah,
mhm.
it's composed with love, versus the first soundtrack where I don't think there was a single track in there that wasn't like mostly a loop.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Like while good, definitely put together using mostly loops. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah. Ah, I'm in such a peaceful place right now.
Hell yeah.
very good. It's a great soundtrack, great series for it. There's a bunch of this stuff on Spotify, but a lot of it is from the re-releases. So though, like that features a lot of remixes and different versions and stuff.
Ah,
Um, so it's definitely worth going to check out if you want to if you want to hear more. They're all there's quite a lot of it available. The ones I had to get for this one were just direct rips from the discs because there's no official soundtrack releases for either the first two games, which is really annoying.
yeah.
Which is part of what made it so hard to figure out who did what tracks. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us, Treyt. It was a real pleasure to have you on, and just to chat about these two really fun soundtracks. If you want to plug anything you've got going on, now's the time to do
Oh,
so.
sweet. Yeah, no, thank you so much for having me. This was a bunch of fun. I love how just laid back and casual everything is. You guys are like you said, you love learning about video game music,
Yeah,
and this podcast just lets you bring people together and learn. It's awesome. As far as plugs, I'm Treyt Music or Treyt Sound on YouTube, and yeah, I make whatever the frick I want. Been mostly synthwave type stuff in Cyberpunk.
yeah.
So
There's some pretty good
yeah.
synthwave stuff on there. I really like Punch It.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
that was when I
That's one of
listened
my
to that. That was
favorites.
real good. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Trey, thank you so much as well. Really appreciate taking the time, and
yeah,
always really love having musicians on because Tom and I are just goofballs talking about music, and so whenever anybody can actually sort of break it down for real,
yeah. It
it, it,
definitely
it,
helps.
it it feels like we're cheating, like haha. So we got someone that knows what they're talking about.
Hey. Well, I only barely know what I'm talking about, but I'm
That's
very
good.
happy to facilitate that for you guys. It's been a lot of fun.
Wonderful.
Fantastic. Reese, what you got going on?
Reese V. Ryder on Twitter and Blue Sky. You can also check out my other podcasts, Video Games Are the Worst Thing on Earth, and Existential Warfare, which will have another episode one day.
Excellent. And as for ourselves, we can be found CRT Sound System on Patreon, CRT Sound System on Blue Sky, CRT Pod System on Twitter still for the time being. I've got a link tree, so you can go to linktree. Was link linktr.ee. That's a really difficult URL to read out.
Yeah.
No kidding.
linktr.ee/CRT sound system for all our links. Or join our Discord, come and hang out and chat about video game music with us. Come on the show if you want to come and talk about a video game soundtrack that we haven't covered or that you think we should cover. Absolutely come on the show, and we will try to facilitate people as much as possible. I think we hadn't really spoken to Treyt before. Larry from it was Larry from Mussy Remix just sort of got you to join one day.
Yep.
And then I just DM'd you and I was like, hey, do you want to come on and do an episode? So yeah.
Oh, that was the origin. I remember that.
Yep.
We're just like, anybody wanna? And I remember you coming in and just like, what? Why was I invited here? What?
Who is this? Why am I here?
Yeah.
Great.
And yeah, we didn't even end up doing that episode just because I think either I was unwell or you were unwell, Reese, so we didn't even do the episode in the end.
Yeah.
But I was like, well, you made the effort to join the Discord, so I'm going to see at least if you want to come and do an episode.
And yeah, it was fantastic. But yeah, that makes sense. I had someone kind of vouching for me from OCR. That makes sense.
But yeah, it was really cool to have you on. We'll definitely have to get you to come back on again at some point in future. So we'll leave you off with the last track here anyway, which is we're going back to Monkey Ball 1 again. So these are from the aforementioned master levels, which from what I understand are some form of hate crime. But the music is good, so so yeah, thank you so much for listening and have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.